Yes, you. Welcome to the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast, a podcast for people who want to disrupt their lives for a good reason, to make it count. I'm your host, Jen Glantz, and every week I'll drop a new episode with stories from real people just like you, who woke up one morning and decided to make big changes, starting with small things. We'll cover topics like entrepreneurship, love, failure, and self-care. Hey, you're not getting any younger, so let's make this an adventure. Ready? Hey, any youngers, Jen Glantz here. Welcome back for a brand new episode of the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast. I just got off the G train, which is a train in New York City that takes me back to Brooklyn. And when I got off the train, I thought to myself, with all of the new people listening to this podcast, and even the listeners who have been there since day one, I want to keep making sure that I am as open and honest and relevant and real as possible. And that's why I wanted to answer a couple of questions about my week so far. I figured I would go through a rundown of things that are making me happy, things that are keeping me up at night, cool things I've discovered, all before we jump into this week's episode so that you can get to know me a little bit better, but also understand some of the interesting things that all humans are going through, but we're not posting about on the Instagram. Okay, so one cool thing that I'm really into right now is hot yoga. I have to preface this by saying for many, many years of my life, I despised yoga. It's not fun. It's something that annoys me. I'm so unflexible. Like, even when I bend my knees, I still can't touch my toes. I'm also not a patient person. I rush through everything. So yoga's been the biggest challenge athletically for me in a really, really long time. And I go to these hot yoga classes, and not only do you have 99-degree temperatures weighing on you, but now I'm there for an hour trying to do these poses that everyone else in the class can do, and I am just looking like a complete twisted, melted pretzel. But I found this teacher in New York City that I love because a lot of what she does is not only teach you the yoga poses, but teaches you how to breathe, and also has themes for the week. And for example, this week's theme was just show up. So the coolest thing I'm into right now that I'm loving for myself is hot yoga, which I can't believe I'm saying. And by the way, I still can't touch my toes, and I don't think I will for a while, but why I'm loving it so much is because it's helped me do something that honestly, I don't think I can remember the last time I was able to do, which is take a deep breath. One thing keeping me up at night right now is friendships. I talk a lot about this, but I think one of the things that I'm pretty self-conscious about, and one of the things that I'm not so happy about, is my lack of close friendships. I was thinking about this the other day, that I maybe have 2 close friends that I really, really consider to be people who know what's happening in my life and who are there for me. And it keeps me up at night thinking about how I don't have a lot of the close bonds that a lot of other people have. And not to compare and to contrast, but at age 31, I wish I can be proud of the friendships in my life, and I'm very happy that I have 2 close friends, but I'm jealous that I don't have more. That's what's keeping me up at night. A cool thing that I recently discovered is this app called CoStar. And it's an app that analyzes your horoscope and analyzes your sign based on the time you were born, the day you were born, and your location. I'm absolutely obsessed with it because I think it's spot on. And it also tells you what kind of things you're going to be struggling with during the week. And one of the things that I'm struggling with right now, which applies to what's keeping me up at night, is my social life. It tells me that because of my sign and who I am, that I have a lot of trouble with social anxiety. And that oftentimes when I'm in these social situations, I put on a huge mask. Like, I'm so emotionally distant from people in person. It's like I'm scared to become close to people. And that is something I have worked very hard to figure out why and to fix, but I think it all ties back into this overarching theme is friendship and how to make friends when you're older, how to keep friends when you're older, and this feeling that, again, we don't talk about on Instagram, this feeling of being so alone and not necessarily knowing exactly what to do about it. So that's what's up with me. I would love, love, love to hear something that is cool in your life, keeping you up at night in your life, and maybe something awesome that you discovered. So head over to our You're Not Getting Any Younger Facebook group, post it there, chat with us there. I would love to know what your 3 things are. This week's topic is all about how to pump yourself up to move forward with something that you have no guarantee is going to work. And I'm talking about those projects, those hobbies, those things on our to-do list that we desperately want to get done, but we don't touch because, well, we have a job and we have to make money and we have relationships and we have all of these things. And when we talk about this whole idea of work-life balance, which I don't really think exists, I think when we think of balance, we think that both have to be equal, but truly our lives are never in balance. And there are some times when work dominates everything, and that's okay. But there are also times when life dominates everything, and that has to be okay. But I do think one thing that I know I struggle with, that maybe other people struggle with too, is this idea that we cannot pursue projects because we don't know how they're going to turn out. And what if? They're a waste of time. Last week I got coffee with an old friend I haven't seen in a while, and I sat there drinking my coffee. We actually went to a really cool place in New York City. It was a dog cafe. You've seen cat cafes where there's like cats roaming around, but this was a place in New York City where I think it's called Boris and Hoxton or something, where there are dogs. Like people bring their dogs, take them off the leash, and they wander around while humans sit at tables drinking coffee, talking to old friends, and doing work. It is literally my new favorite place to go. They also have dog meetups, by the way. But anyway, while this is happening, I'm sitting across from an old friend of mine. I'm drinking my coffee, and she's talking about all of these cool creative projects she's working on. And she's talking about how she's going to sell a TV show and how she's going to hopefully sell something else. And she's just spending all of her time writing and doing all of these awesome, awesome things. And I couldn't help but think about myself while she was talking and how I've personally struggled in the past couple of years with sitting down and doing the things that I love. I'm a writer. It's what I'm good at. It's what I enjoy. And even when I'm telling you this right now on the podcast, I'm about to cry because nothing I've said in a while feels so true and feels so right. But when is the last time that we have admitted out loud who we truly are and what we truly want? I don't do it enough, and probably you don't either. And I thought about why I don't write more. And a lot of that is because in the past couple of years, I've been so chasing the dollar sign, how to make more money, how to do more of things I don't want to do to make more money, that I have lost the idea, the identity of doing what I want, of sitting down and writing for no reason and writing for no one. So I asked my friend, I interrupted her, and I asked her a question. I said, do you ever feel like you're wasting time working on things that might not go anywhere when the time can be spent doing something valuable? And it took a lot for me to ask this question, but I really had to know because there I was sitting in front of a person who uses a lot of her free time to do what she loves. And she's sitting across from a person who uses their free time doing anything but that. So I figured at the risk of maybe offending her, I had to know how she does this. And she looked at me, and she looked at me in a way that gave me a response as if she was a person who also has spent a long time learning the answer to this question. She said, Jen, it's just time. It'll pass anyway. You might as well do something you enjoy doing while it does. And I thought about all of these unpublished manuscripts and sticky notes of ideas, and I felt like reaching over the table and just giving her a hug, but I didn't. I sat there and I listened, and I just let the afternoon pass with a good friend who is doing truly what she loves. A couple of weeks ago, I had Laura Vanderkam on the podcast, and she talked about priorities, and she talked about how we don't do the things we actually love enough. And it's gotten me to write a list of all of my favorite things. And I wrote about 10 different things from going to baseball games. I know, it's weird, but I love it. Things like writing outside in the park. Things like going to the beach. Things like talking to strangers on park benches. I don't do those things anymore. And when we make lists of things we love, we start to realize that Yeah, we love them, but we don't do enough of them. And why? And when you keep asking yourself that question of why, you start to see it's only because you're scared. It's only because you think you have to chase something else when really you don't. And maybe you do, because come on, we all need the money for our bills and for our lives, but we don't need to devote our entire life to that. And my friends, I have not perfected this. I'm just starting the journey, and that list has helped me, and that conversation has helped me, and I pressed send on something that I was terrified to send, and it was a piece of writing that I am personally so proud of, and I hope I can keep doing that. And I just wanted to share that with you today because it was such a powerful conversation that I had with this friend, and I just really, really hope that no matter who you are, no matter where you're listening to this podcast from, that you take a little bit of time today to identify what matters to you. What do you love? And then ask yourself, when is the last time you did any of that? And I hope, I cross my fingers for you, I cheer you on as I sit here in my bed recording this podcast, that you do some of those things this month, this week, maybe even in the next hour. Thank you all so much for listening to another episode of this show right here. If you love it, it would mean the entire world if you just went right down below on your app, gave us 5 stars and wrote a review. So many great new reviews are popping up on iTunes. Katie said she loves the show and she looks forward to it every single week. Alyssa says that the guests are so inspiring and relatable. Those wonderful words mean so much. And if you have about 20 seconds and can leave us a review, your reviews help me book more and more and more guests and help this show running without any kind of sponsored ads in it at all. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next week. Hey you! Thank you for listening to the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast. There are hundreds of thousands of pods out there, so thank you for listening to this one. You can find the show notes for this week's episode up on our website, anyyounger.com. Subscribe, rate, and review the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast on iTunes so that other ears around the world can listen too. Oh, and join our secret You're Not Getting Any Younger Facebook group, where over 1,000 people are talking about how to disrupt their lives, for a good reason, to make it count. Until next week, all my love, Jen Glantz.